Hey guys, welcome back for video through what should be video 3. So you should now know all of the exact values. You should have Paolo's song in your head. You should have it on your Spotify playlists and just, teaching it to your family. Right, so the topics we have, we've now done exact values, the proof. And the proof basically is where these come from, which is the two special triangles. And now we're going to look at using the exact values. There's two sets of worksheets you need to do for this topic. This video is going to be on worksheet 1, which is the basic uses of exact values. And then after that, we'll do 3D Pythagoras later in the week. So the type of question you might get is solve to find the missing values, and this will be on a non-calculated paper. Now, sine 30 is equal to a half. So you simply replace sine 30 with a half. So you get half equals x over 5. You can multiply both sides by 5. So that means that x has to be 5 over 2. Question B, you can have a go with that and pause the video now. And so you know that cosine 30 is root 3 over 2. And we know that's equal to 6 over x. You can cross multiply. Now this is a bit harder. It looks harder because x is on the denominator, but the method is the same. Multiply by x and then divide 6 by root 3 over 2. You can then get x. So root 3x is equal to 12 if you cross multiply and then divide by root 3. So x equals 12 over root 3. This is not the end of that answer, though. You're going to be expected to rationalize your answer. So you'll have to now multiply that by root 3 over root 3. And then you get 12 root 3 over 3. Now 12 over 3 simplifies to 4, so your final answer is 4 root 3. Okay, so you should now try the two questions on the bottom. Pause the video now. We don't have much practice on this on the worksheet, so you need to make sure you can do this now. Okay, and your answers should be 3 root 2 and root 3. Okay, second type of question you might get is where you'll notice here we've been given the angles, so it's just a case of remembering the table and working it out. The second type of question is where you are working out the angle from the question. So sine x gives you 1 over root 2. Now, you might already know that just off the top of your head. Or if you don't know it and you've memorized Paolo's song, then you just need to rationalize this, which you'd probably have to do anyway later on. And you typically have to do that in most questions. So multiply by root 2 over root 2. You end up with root 2 over 2. And then just from Paolo's song, you know that sine 45 will be root 2 over 2. So x equals 45 degrees. Try the same for B and C. Okay, so you should now have 1 over root 3. Again, you need to rationalize this. So it's root 3 over root 3. You get root 3 over 3. And just from the table, you know that x has to be 30. And then finally here, it's a deceptively simple question, root 18 over root 6. Now you know that square root of a over the square root of b is equivalent to square root of a over b. Now that becomes a square root of 18 over 6, which is root 3. And then you know that root 3, so x has to be 60 degrees. And these are typically 1 or 2 mark questions, but it was quite it's frustrating if you forget these in an exam, so make sure you know those. Now, we can actually do SOHCAHTOA without a calculator now as well. So here's a typical question you might get. Try this if you're confident, otherwise you don't have to pause the video for this one. So you can see the hypotenuse is 8 and the opposite is P. So O and H, so sine 30 equals P over 8. I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. So 8 sine 30 equals P. And then I know that sine 30 is a half, so it's 8 times a half, which is 4 units. Okay, so you're now going to try the question on the bottom. So there is the question. Pause the video. Okay, so you should have sine 45 is 7 over k, and there's the rest of your working out. Do not forget to rationalize your answer. The exam question may not remind you like the question on the slide has reminded you. Another question for you to try, this time all of you should try this. Okay, now I'm going to go through the answers here. Type them all up, so you should get r is root 2. And then a final question for you to try. And now I'll go through it. And you should get 4 root 3. You can pause the video to check any of that if you're not sure. Now for this matching activity, you're going to match the 6 cards, 3 of them each for each triangle. So you're matching the lengths in this case. Use your knowledge of triangles and hypotenuse and lengths to work this out. This one potentially might take a bit longer to do. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the answers. You know that this is the one on the right is a isosceles. So those two lengths have to match, which means they have to be 2 because there's only matching numbers. You can then work out the hypotenuse is going to be root 8. And then here again, you know that the longest side has to be the hypotenuse. So that's going to be 6. And then the 2 shorter sides, you get 3 and then 3 root 3. The first worksheet you're going to be expected to do is attached on Google Classroom. There are 5 questions. You need to do all of them. It should take you about 20 minutes. They're very, very quick. Yeah, definitely non-calculator. It's a pointless task to do if you're using a calculator because it's very easy. And you should use the table of values memorized from your head. And then next video, we're going to do some slightly harder questions.